The Maddie Clifton case is one of the most tragic, heartbreaking, and unsettling criminal cases in recent American history. It involves the brutal murder of 9-year-old Maddie Clifton by her 14-year-old neighbor, Josh Phillips. This crime shocked not only the local community in Jacksonville, Florida, but the entire nation, as people struggled to comprehend how such a horrific act could have been committed by someone so young. The case remains one of the most well-known examples of juvenile violence and has sparked ongoing debates over issues of justice, culpability, and the treatment of young offenders. Maddie Clifton was a cheerful, vibrant 9-year-old girl living in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Jacksonville, Florida. She had a loving family, her mother, Sheila Clifton, her father, Steve Clifton, and her 2 older brothers. Maddie was known for her radiant smile and bubbly personality, loved by everyone who knew her. She was an active child, playing with her friends in the neighborhood, and she was very close to her family. Maddie's family was the picture of suburban stability. Sheila and Steve had been married for several years and had raised their children in a typical middle-class neighborhood, surrounded by other families and a sense of community. Maddie attended elementary school where she was well-liked and known for being kind-hearted and polite. On the other hand, Josh Phillips, the 14-year-old who would later become the perpetrator of the crime, had a more troubled background. Josh's family had recently moved to Jacksonville from another part of Florida, and he and his family lived just down the street from the Clifton family. Josh was an introverted, quiet boy, socially awkward and not well known in the neighborhood. He had a strained relationship with his parents, particularly with his father, George Phillips, who was described as strict and disciplinarian. Josh's mother was often said to be passive in the relationship, providing little emotional support for him, which led to a lack of emotional connection within the household. Josh had struggled with anger issues and had a history of exhibiting violent behavior, although it had never manifested in such extreme ways before. His parents were reportedly unaware of the depth of his emotional struggles, and their strained relationship with him may have contributed to his feelings of isolation and frustration. While Maddie and Josh were both young and lived in close proximity, their interactions had been minimal, and there was no indication that there was any animosity between the two. On the afternoon of November 3rd, 1998, Maddie Clifton went missing. It began as a typical afternoon. Maddie was playing in her backyard with friends, as she often did. However, when dinner time arrived and Maddie did not return home, her parents became concerned. Sheila and Steve Clifton immediately began searching for their daughter, calling her name and checking around the house. As time passed, their anxiety grew and they began asking neighbors if they had seen Maddie. No one had, and the fear of the unknown set in. At first, Maddie's disappearance seemed like an innocent, albeit worrying, case of a child wandering off or losing track of time. However, as hours turned into the night and still there was no sign of Maddie, her parents reported her missing to the police.
Hey, Jean?
Jacksonville 911.
Yes, sir. Hi. This is. I went out to play this afternoon. I thought she was with her, and now she's missing.
How old is she?
She's 8 years old.
Where was she playing at around the house?
Right around the house here.
Is she a white female or a
Yes,
black female?
she's a white female.
What did she have on when she left?
She had on a red T-shirt. And Mama, did you have on jeans? No, I've been upstairs, Mama. I have searched.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Blue jeans?
Mama, did you have on blue jeans? What'd you have on? What kind of shorts?
Pair of shorts?
She had on a pair of shorts and a red T-shirt.
She blonde hair? Black
No,
hair?
she's got reddish-brown hair. It's actually a brown with an auburn tint to it.
What's her name?
It's short. Her name is Maddie. She goes as Madeline.
What's her last name?
Clifton. C-L-I-F as in Frank, T-O-N.
When's the last time anybody saw her?
Mama, what time did I come home from boating? About 5:30?
About 5.
4:30 to 5 o'clock. About 5:30 was the last time we saw her. And I was letting the kids play out here for a little while, and then she disappeared, and nobody knows where she's at.
She have any friends nearby? Did you go check?
I got every neighbor out here right now.
Okay, the police will be there shortly, ma'am. You keep looking, okay?
Okay, do you,
All right.
you know where I am? I mean, I'm at the corner of Fleetwood and Stephen is right there.
What is it?
My husband just came home. And, hold on just a moment. Honey, Maddie is gone. No. Okay, my husband just pulled up, but she's not with him, of course.
Okay, the police are going to be there shortly, ma'am, okay?
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
The local police department quickly mobilized a search effort, canvassing the area and asking neighbors for any information. The investigation began to expand as the search grew more desperate. Over the next few days, the authorities organized a widespread search for Maddie. Hundreds of volunteers and police officers scoured the neighborhood, checking houses, dumpsters, and nearby wooded areas. A sense of panic began to grip the community as Maddie's absence stretched into days. Local media outlets began reporting on the case, and soon the national news picked up the story. The entire nation watched as the story of the missing 9-year-old girl unfolded. After several days of searching and with no leads to follow, the case took a shocking turn. On November 9, 1998, just days after Maddie had been reported missing, Josh Phillips, Maddie's 14-year-old neighbor, came forward with a confession. He led authorities to his bedroom, where they found Maddie's lifeless body hidden beneath his waterbed. What Josh revealed was nothing short of chilling. In his confession, Josh admitted that he had killed Maddie after she had entered his room to ask him for help with a problem. According to Josh, he had become enraged with her, and in a fit of anger, he struck her with a baseball bat. After Maddie fell to the ground, Josh realized that she was still alive, but instead of seeking help, he decided to choke her to death. Once Maddie was dead, Josh dragged her body into his room and hid her under his waterbed. He then kept her body concealed for several days, and it wasn't until the police had exhausted all other leads that he finally confessed. Josh's story was disturbing on multiple levels. The premeditated nature of the crime, combined with the fact that Josh had hidden the body for nearly a week, painted a picture of a young boy who was emotionally disturbed and capable of an unspeakable act. Josh's reasons for murdering Maddie seemed to be linked to an overwhelming sense of anger, although he was unable to articulate exactly why he had killed her. Some of his statements suggested that he had acted out of a desire for control, but there was no clear motive that could explain the brutality of the murder. Once Josh confessed to the crime, the authorities began to piece together the details of the murder. The police conducted a thorough investigation, gathering evidence from Josh's home and questioning him further about the events that led up to Maddie's death. Forensics revealed that Maddie had suffered blunt force trauma to her head from the baseball bat, as well as strangulation marks on her neck. Despite Josh's claim that the murder was a spur-of-the-moment act of rage, the evidence suggested that he had planned to conceal the crime for as long as possible. On November 9, 1998, Josh Phillips was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, and false imprisonment. The news of his arrest sent shockwaves through the community, where people were left stunned by the revelation that a 14-year-old boy had killed his 9-year-old neighbor. The shock was compounded by the fact that Josh had been able to hide his violent tendencies from his family, his neighbors, and even law enforcement. Josh Phillips' trial began in 1999, and it was a highly emotional and public affair. The prosecution argued that Josh was a cold-blooded murderer who had planned and executed the crime without any regard for Maddie's life. They painted a picture of a boy who had intentionally killed Maddie, hidden her body, and lied about what had happened in order to avoid being caught. The defense, on the other hand, argued that Josh was a troubled teenager who had been emotionally disturbed and under tremendous pressure from his family life. They suggested that he had acted out of fear and confusion, unable to understand the severity of his actions. During the trial, Maddie's parents testified about the heart-wrenching loss of their daughter. They spoke of the pain of losing a young child in such a violent and senseless way. They also spoke of the shock they felt upon learning that their daughter's killer was a neighbor they had trusted and a boy they had known. The prosecution made the case that Josh Phillips was fully responsible for Maddie's death and that he had no excuse for his actions. On February 21, 1999, Josh Phillips was found guilty of first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, and false imprisonment. The jury deliberated for several hours before reaching their verdict. The case was especially significant because of Josh's age. At 14 years old, he was a minor, and many wondered whether he should be held to the same standard as an adult. the judge sentenced Josh Phillips to life in prison without the possibility of parole. This sentencing decision ignited a broader debate about juvenile justice. Some argued that Josh, being a young boy, deserved a chance at rehabilitation, while others believed that his actions were so egregious that he should never be allowed to re-enter society. Many wondered whether a 14-year-old could ever truly be held accountable for a crime of this magnitude, and whether the justice system was prepared to deal with such cases. The Maddie Clifton case is one of the most haunting stories in recent criminal history. It is a tragic reminder of the potential for violence within even the most seemingly normal of families and neighborhoods. Josh Phillips' actions were shocking, and the aftermath of the crime has left an indelible mark on the lives of both the Clifton and Phillips families. The case also raised difficult questions about juvenile justice, the treatment of young offenders, and the psychological factors that contribute to violent behavior. The murder of Maddie Clifton will always be remembered as a heartbreaking event, and the ripples of this tragedy will continue to be felt for years to come. Thank you for diving into this gripping case with us. If you enjoyed unraveling the mystery, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on more chilling stories of crime and justice. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your theories. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.